Time travel has been a concept for as long as time was ever invented, or discovered probably. Now will time travel ever be possible? No, because science will never allow it to. Nevertheless, the whole concept sprung out ideas, especially with media. Movies such as the Back to the Future trilogy are classics, and Interstellar, and damn, I'm too much of a weeb to know any others that are not anime. Doctor Who, if anyone cares about that anymore. But the idea of time travel became quite prevalent in the anime genre, having several types of series relating to the topic. Yet there is always a classic that comes to mind, Steins Gate. From all of the other time travel stuff I've watched, Steins Gate goes into the most depth and detail compared to the rest, which has always been so fascinating. Even though Steins Gate was released back in 2011, with the visual novel released back in 2009, it still remains as one of the greatest time travel anime or time travel shows in general, and I just have to talk about it a bit, from my own personal experience with the series. I will also spoil quite a bit, so if you haven't watched it, quit being a dummy and watch it already because it's amazing. Steins Gate introduces us to our main character, Okabe Rintaro, or he'd rather be called Hyoin Kiyoma, which can translate to something about a phoenix and a horrible truth or something, though he just uses it because he thinks it sounds cool and mysterious. But Okabe is a self-claimed mad scientist that always has an evil organization tailing him wherever he goes. At least that's what he claims to his imaginary phone calls he takes, that make him look like a complete goofball, which to be fair, also makes him very lovable. But on the inside, he is really just an 18-year-old that has a huge interest in science by researching the studies he's interested in and constructing his own inventions in his future gadget lab, which sounds like an interesting laboratory, but it's nothing more than just a small apartment. But he takes whatever he can get, as he then shares the tiny apartment with his two lab mems, Hashida Itaru, a computer hacker able to hack into all kinds of programs and websites, especially into top secret organization areas no one should be able to access. He's also a little too much of a weeby otaku, which is one of his shortcomings, since he says some out of place stuff here and there. Then there is the next lab member, Shina Mayuri, who is childhood friends with Okabe, but she likes to call him Ocarine because she thinks it's cute. She is a bit of a weeb, but nowhere near Daru's level. She enjoys collecting cute merchandise, especially something called an Oopa, that's some kind of mouse panda thing she has a cushion of. She also likes putting together cosplays she makes herself, and she then works at a local maid cafe, which is sure a unique kind of job. Basically, she is a young innocent girl where I hope nothing bad happens to her. But as the series goes on, there are more characters that get recruited as members for the future gadget laboratory. Christina, a young genius who always butts heads with Okabe. Lukako is a dude. Ferris works at the cat maid cafe with Mayuri. Suzuha is an energetic girl that works at a TV store underneath Okabe's apartment. The show gathers up a nice cast you will grow fond of as the series goes on, getting you ready for an incredible story. Steins Gate's narrative is told in a way where it's not trying to rush anything. It's not going to point A to point B without giving anything else enough room to breathe. It's making sure to flesh out as much as possible to construct such a memorable story. Yet I do sometimes hear a bit of a common opinion, where many mention that half of Steins Gate is boring, while the other half is actually interesting. I see where people are coming from, but I couldn't disagree more. The way Steins Gate's story presents itself is having the first half to establish and set out everything it's out to do later in the next half. It first builds up on the time travel concept and how it will actually work. Immerses me more by taking its time as you see the lab members slowly get an idea on how time travel works. And what I especially enjoy about the series is that Okabe was never necessarily a huge fanatic of time travel. He was interested in it, but he never set out to try and be the mad scientist he said he was to make a time machine of his own, until a certain phenomenon happened with one of his future gadgets, a microwave, dubbed as the phone wave, name subject to change, which was quite a simple device, a microwave that could be controlled by a mobile device. But then a mysterious occurrence happened when when Okabe was sending an email to his lab member Daru back at the lab, while his phone was still connected to the phone wave, it caused an event where somehow Okabe sent an email to Daru from the past, technically making it a time machine. The series then continues to try and answer the question on how all this even happened, and how to slowly develop it into a more functional time machine. Yet many find it to be quite boring with its slower pace, but for me, I got so invested and curious to see what they figure out with the mysteries they uncover, to then discover that time travel holds many dark truths to overcome, and it all works so well to develop the series' second act, to create such intense, emotional, and heartfelt moments. Compared to other time travel anime I've seen, like Tokyo Revengers, Link Click, and even many isekais, which can technically count as time travel, Steins Gate definitely goes into the most depth on the concept, with the others not really going into it all too much, it just kind of happens. That's what makes Steins Gate so special, but I do find you get some fans of the series that go into the mentality thinking you actually need to be smart to understand what's going on. It's like the Rick and Morty mindset, where some of the biggest fans are like, ugh, you don't like the show because you're too dumb to understand. Which you really don't need to be a genius of any kind. Steins Gate does discuss many scientifical meanings, but as long as you have a brief understanding, you will still appreciate the series just as much. Steins Gate's writing is some of the best I've seen in an anime. I experienced every kind of emotion this series had to offer. The second half really changes the pace and tone so much. It keeps you so invested, wanting you to know what will happen, wanting to know the outcome, since the series drops such a shocking and upsetting scene where Mayuri is killed by getting shot right through the head, and it becomes a whirlwind of emotions from there. You see as Okabe goes insane trying to go back in time over and over and over again just to try and save Mayuri's life, but fails again and again and again. Not to help that he feels completely alone in this situation, since he is the only one able to retain his memories of different timelines, no matter how much he jumps between them, with the rest of the lab members having the same memory depending what point in time Ocarine went to. And it's always heartbreaking to listen to one of Mayuri's final words always being the same. The second you hear,
"Oh no, I just wound you a while ago, don't tell me you're broken,"
you know what is about to happen, and it's never pleasant. I won't even lie, I cried in one of those scenes, yet it was on my second rewatch. I already knew what was going to happen, yet I still felt a whole tear go down my face. I didn't even think it would make me that emotional. Generally, I'm not necessarily an emotional person, especially when it comes to anime. There are some anime where many say they are extremely emotional, but a lot of the time I just sit there with barely any emotion shown in my face. Yet there have been some anime that made me very emotional, but all I remember is just having watery eyes. But from what I remember, this is the very first time that an anime actually made me shed an entire tear. This is why this series is goddamn incredible. I also find that while you keep watching Okabe go slowly insane, I start to feel very connected with the location it's all based in. The whole anime is in such a small location, yet it never gets tiring. A lot of it is in Okabe's apartment too. It engaged me with the story a lot, especially seeing how the city could change due to the events of messing with time. The city is a huge component in making this plot so unique. It helps to emphasize the madness Okabe plunges himself in, from so much changing around him, from what he did with the time machine, altering the past into different timelines. But as much as time messes everything up, you are along for the journey to see how it all concludes in the end, with some incredible twists on the way I never expected, and it's great to see how far the characters develop throughout. Honestly, there isn't a lot wrong with Steins Gate. It's an anime like no other. The concept of time travel is so fleshed out. There are many lovable characters to enjoy, the story holds many emotions to experience, with several twists and struggles the cast must accomplish. It's a series I appreciate a whole lot more over the years. There is just so much I love. Yet I don't think Steins Gate is for everyone, since it is a much slower paced show that may lose the attention of many, especially especially if you played a visual novel that was released before. The anime is like a condensed version of that, yet they're both still amazing. But when you give it patience, you know how much of a masterpiece Steins Gate really is.